Hi, friends. It's Sarah, the fat culture critic. Keeping things a bit low key today. I just want to respond to some of the comments on my discussion of everything around James Somerson and all that. So, first off, to everyone who was worried that I was like blaming myself or being really hard on myself, uh, I'm not blaming myself. Like, I know he is to blame. I just find it useful to sort of purge the icky feelings by working through them and seeing what I can learn. So that's what I was trying to do. Because, like as it said, I know that most of the blame falls on him, or at least most of the blame that can be held by an individual falls on him. We need to not be neolib about this. The reason that he was able to exploit so many people is because the system has set things up to be exploitable. As a couple people pointed out, it's capitalism all along. And the only reason why I didn't mention capitalism is because it does feel like pointing out, oh, this water is wet. Um, but we should probably say sometimes that this water is wet. And yeah, like it's capitalism, it's white supremacy, it's heteronormativity that wants everybody to be in neat little boxes. Like it's all that makes life so hostile to people who live a kind of liminal existence. This is why we queer stuff, because we need to change things, right? So yeah, I'm not blaming myself. There are things I have to take responsibility for in the sense of things that I think of as like snow on driveway issues, like the me recognizing that I still put too much authority into white cis maleness. By snow on driveway, I mean like it's not my fault it's there, but it's my responsibility to deal with my piece of it, the piece that is in my head. Because if I don't, it'll hurt someone. So yeah. And on the subject of snow on driveway issues, I made a mistake in that video that I need to account for. I was far too casual with the word narcissist. Um, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that, especially in public. There are reasons that that term is applicable in certain, like, there's reasons that language is useful in certain contexts in private. But in public and without that context, then all it does is add to the stigma against people with mental illness. And, that's sanism. That's something that is a snow on driveway issue that I have been working on with myself. And it's one we need to, there's a lot more snow than just on the driveway. That one. So yeah, if you didn't know that was a problem, you get to learn from my example of screwing up, because I did know that was a problem and I screwed up anyway. So I take accountability for that, and I do. I am sorry. Please don't argue about this in the comments. The people who pointed it out to me, I consider that criticism to be a gift because they believe I can do better. And this is like the exact example of good faith criticism that we need to all be able to accept if we don't want to turn into someone like James. So most of the comments on that video were very kind. A lot of people expressing their own feelings about the situation, and I hope that you all go back and read each other's comments, because there's a big old catharsis party going on in the comments there, and that is all to the good. And it is impressive to get to a video to like 11,000 views with almost no bad comments. But there are a couple bad comments. I think ones that are useful to address. So first off, there was the person who thought it's a red flag that I admitted that citations, that like knowing where my knowledge comes from is difficult for me when I was talking about my ADHD. I wasn't saying I don't do it. I wasn't saying I don't have to do it. I was saying it is difficult because of the nature of my brain. That is not a red flag. That is your ableism. I don't know how many times I've had the conversation with my nibblings that when something is hard, it's okay to say, this is hard. And then, you do your best to keep doing it because it's okay to say a thing is hard. And if my little nibblings can get that, like, you need to work on understanding it yourself because, yeah, it is okay to say a thing is hard. And when a person with a disability, and ADHD is a disability, when a person with a disability says, this disability makes this thing hard, you affirm it or you say nothing. Because, like, this is the reason why it is disabling, because a thing that is easy for other people is not easy for you for a reason. This also goes for people giving unasked for advice. unless unless you have a brain that is weird, like in the way that my brain is weird. I don't want to hear your advice. Um, because especially if your advice is extra steps, you're not understanding that the more steps I add on, the more, like, it takes mental spoons and it will cause me to burn out. So you're not going to tell me an easy way. If a person whose brain or body works differently than yours isn't doing something that seems obvious to you, you aren't understanding the problem. That's not to mean that there aren't people who can give advice, but they either have similar brains to me, or they have or they are actual experts who I have asked for advice. So those comments I put down to people who mean well but aren't doing the snow on driveway. Which, if you don't know that the snow is there, yeah, you don't realize that you're doing an ableism, you're doing an ableism. And I'm not going to get angry at them considering I just did a Satanism. But there are a couple comments that I need to address that are in a different category. And from here on, I give you content warning for anti-fat bias. How old is she? I just saw something about how loads of relatively prominent fat activists, I don't know if that's the right term, and social media creators have been passing away far too young, like 30s to 40s. And I just hope she's doing okay, because to be honest, I found that really, really upsetting. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. Sorry, Brick. I don't IDK politics or whatever aside, the whole thing is incredibly sad. Honey, sweetie, bestie, I read my comments. We all read our comments. Apart from the very big people, we all read our comments. You going, how old is she? Oh my God, she's going to die, is no better than the people who go, hey, you're going to die. I'm going to assume in good faith that you are a child, because an adult who wrote this needs some deep self-examination. It is inappropriate. I'm sorry it breaks your brain that I'm 43 and not dead. Yeah. I don't know what to say to this person, honestly. I hope you are a child. Anyway, it is misinformation. There have been fat activists who died young. There are also thin people who die young. Dying is a thing humans do at various ages. Get over it. Okay, this one comes with a big content warning. So this is someone who came across me with the James video and went to a different video in which I carefully explain why I do not tolerate body shame comments or body comments of any kind. I call it my body is not a choice, because it's from people saying that they believe they have a right to comment and criticize my body if I have the right to criticize art. You do not have a right to criticize anybody's body. And if you are currently mocking James's body, you are not my friend and you are not welcome here because we do not do that. Anyway, clearly, entire video clearly stating my boundaries on this, my trauma on this, and why it is not appropriate to comment on my body. This person says, whose name I am not crossing out. Hi, Sarah. I just ran across your videos as a result of the James Somerton situation. I understand that this is a sensitive topic for you, but if you would allow this comment to stay up and acknowledge it, I didn't, I reported it, I would be very appreciative. I am very sorry about your childhood experience of dieting, and I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone. I also went through a similar restrictive eating experience in my early teens. However, I would be very interested in talking to you about potential avenues for you to feel better physically in your body and not suffer the joint pain and other symptoms you have experienced from your current predicament without necessarily going on a diet. As someone who is studying to become a nutritional advisor and personal trainer, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. I am very passionate and educated, if I do say so myself, about helping people in such vulnerable situations and would love to at least give you some pointers if you would be interested. Thank you very much for reading. I know it isn't easy living in a world filled with media bias towards the ultra thing ideal, but understand I really do want to help you if you would let me. So yeah, this comment made me see red. And if you don't understand why, okay, as I said, I had clearly and definitively stated my boundaries, and they decided that my boundaries did not apply to them. Why? Because they're getting nutritionist training. Nutritionist is not a protected profession. So anytime someone says that they are a nutritionist or nutritionist in training, it should be a red flag because they are probably selling you something. Dietitian is the professional thing. And even then, you want to discuss with them what their training is and what their specialties. A professional would never just violate someone's boundaries and be like, you said you didn't want information and I am going to give it to you. If someone does that, they are not a professional, whatever their degrees are, whatever their training. If they violate your consent, they are not a professional. Yeah, I know what the boundaries of consent are. I was raised with them like gospel in our house. Um, this is inexcusable behavior. I also point out, think about how many times they talked about themselves in this. This is entirely someone who sees themselves as a savior, and their only interest in me is to make themselves feel better about having saved the fatty. Yeah, I really do want to help you, you who have said that you do not want help. Yeah, deeply inappropriate. And I told them it was inappropriate. Like I raged a little bit. I told them they should quit their training because anyone who would violate someone's boundaries like that, who doesn't understand boundaries, um, that has no business, no business in any healthcare field, in any care field whatsoever. No. No, 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 no. That's like trying to be a rocket scientist and thinking that 2 plus 2 equals 6 because you're special. Um, yeah, that that will result in harm. Um, and in my response, I said, do not respond to this, do not under any circumstances reply to this comment. And wouldn't you know it, they decided that they are so special that they get to respond, even when I clearly stated that they should not. If you flatly refuse, then that is fine. I take no offense and wish you well. I am more than willing to stop. No, you're not, because you didn't. But I always want at least to extend an olive branch and offer to help as I believe I can. It's not an olive branch, it's a violation of another person's boundaries. Sorry that you felt I was being rude or insensitive, but that was not my intention. What does intention matter when you hurt someone? What does intention matter when you violate another person's consent, another person's boundaries? If you, like this person did, place your need for the person to understand your intentions above fixing the problem, not causing further harm, you are wrong. Like that, you are humaning wrong. Um, yeah, because no, if you insist that your intentions matter more than how they impact on someone else, you are placing again yourself before them. You are saying that their boundaries again don't matter. Like you are causing harm. You can say, I'm sorry, I didn't intend to harm you. But that comes after you have remedied the harm and not by saying, I'm sorry you felt. Like, no, I am sorry I used a stigmatizing word too casually. I genuinely am sorry. I will try very hard to do better. Like I said, this is me referring to my mistake earlier that I talked about earlier in the video. It I am not going to tell you what my intention was because my intention doesn't matter. People were hurt. So my intention doesn't matter. I if they say if it was a personal conversation with a friend and they said, "Hey, uh, I don't I don't feel good about you saying that," and I said, "Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Um, I'll try to do better," and then they accepted my apology. It would be okay for me to say, "Look, I no, actually, and in that circumstances, it wouldn't be okay because the information was available and I still made the mistake." But if I hadn't known that was a problem, then after they accepted my apology, I could say, "I'm sorry, I didn't know." And that is enough, you know. But yeah, this person has no excuses because they're commenting on a video in which I explain what my boundaries are and why they exist. So yeah, I replied telling them that they're a terrible person. Which I mean, you can call that no reaction if you like. But uh, yeah, I'm sorry. That is my only response to someone who thinks that their intention to save me is so much more important than my uh clearly stating what my boundaries are and why they exist. Like, no. So yeah, those were the comments that I wanted to give a response to. But again, like most of the comments were like genuine, open people being kind and sharing their issues. That, why they felt they had fallen victim. Do we want victim? I don't know. People why they had fallen for the grift too. And yeah, we could. It's it felt really good to to not be the only one. So to the people who thank me for my vulnerability, I thank you for yours. Yeah, it's good for us to talk about this stuff and talk about, you know, when things go wrong, why they go wrong, to be open to those discussions. Um, yeah, that is a world away from that is what the comment section is for. I believe is for us to try and have a conversation with with each other with other commenters. I'm really happy when my videos sort of there's the Vlogbrothers standard of like the video gets better when you scroll down. And I'm really happy, if I hit that, that's better than any metric. Um, I feel like that video got better when you scroll down with all the comments of yeah everybody talking about exchanging their own stuff. So yeah, um, uh, and yeah, ultimately it was capitalism all along. I would once again like to thank my Patreon supporters. My new $10 supporter, Angela Delgado. Thank you and welcome. And Terry Young, as always, I really appreciate your support. And the $5 people on the screen, thank you as always. And the $1 people and just you watching, thank you. Yeah.